watching WAFF 48 News on your side. This is breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news just into our newsroom moments ago. The Jackson County Sheriff has identified the man killed in a shootout with police. Sheriff Rocky Harnan says 44-year-old Charles Bowles shot a Skyline police officer who then returned fire, killing him. Harnan says the officer was responding to a domestic dispute call along with sheriff's deputies yesterday evening. The officer arrived on that scene first and started to check on the people inside the home. Harnan says that is when the man started shooting at the officer and grazed that officer with a bullet. He says these kinds of situations are always difficult to deal with.
Anytime there's an officer involved shooting, an officer gets shot in the country, it affects us all. We are a brotherhood. We do the same thing.
The officer who was hit by a bullet has since been released from the hospital. Now the state is taking over the investigation, which is normal for a case like this. All new at noon, a Danville man was killed in a fiery crash in Lawrence County. The single car wreck happened yesterday around 4 p.m. on Lawrence County 87, about 6 miles west of Moulton. Elias says 67-year-old Jimmy Peebles was killed when he lost control of his car, hit a utility pole and flipped. State troopers are continuing to investigate.
Some loud, bright, and heavy rainmakers this morning affecting the morning commute and really slowing things down. Then there was this little lull in the action, but we're starting to pop a few more showers and even some rumbles of thunder. The best chance to have a little rumble of thunder is in Pulaski right now, moving north and east, but still some showers scattered for areas to the south. If you're in Sneed right now, if you're in Aville, a little shower activity close to you, and another area of showers moving just north of Hartselle and also one near Coleman. This activity will continue through the afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s to near 80. It is incredibly muggy outside. So any kind of shower or storm that we have will be a heavy rainmaker. There are your temperatures and your storms for the afternoon into the evening, and still some storms lingering tonight. Temperatures in the mid 60s, and the storm chance will continue for both days, Saturday and Sunday. We'll take a look at your weekend forecast coming right up.
All new at noon, state leaders are remembering the lives of local law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty in the last year. Huntsville police officer Garrett Crumby was among those honored. He died while responding to a domestic violence call at the Governor's House Apartments last March. Fellow officer Albert Morin was also shot during that same call. He is recovered and back on the force. Now, Governor Ivey says it's important to honor the legacy of those who paid the ultimate price. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall delivered a keynote speech during that service at the state capitol. Marshall praised Crumby's and other fallen officers' dedication to serving the community before their untimely passing.
In Alabama, we know that the men and women of law enforcement who gave their lives in the line of duty are heroes. And the courage shown by those who gave the ultimate sacrifice during the performance of their duties was not an unusual act, but a daily commitment.
Crumby had served with the Huntsville Police Department for 3 years. He leaves behind a wife and children. Now, the man charged with killing Officer Crumby now wants to represent himself at trial. Juan Law signed a waiver earlier this week asking to proceed without an attorney. He's accused of shooting both officers Crumby and Albert Morin at the Governor's House Apartments in March. Now, Morin recovered from his injuries. Defense attorney Mark McDaniel, who's not involved in the case, says not having a lawyer could be a risky move for Law since prosecutors are seeking the death penalty.
It's sad anytime you see a defendant that believes that they can represent themselves and it's just going to be kind of a walk in the park, and I've got this thing all figured out. It don't never work out that way. It's not a walk in the park. It's life and death.
McDaniel says the judge can deny his request to represent himself. Now, the judge has not ruled on this case yet. His case is currently pending action by a grand jury. All new at noon, the University of North Alabama's lion mascot, Leo III, has died. Leo was 21 years old. He was born in New Hampshire in 2002, and he and his twin sister Una moved to the university in 2003. A memorial is being planned for Leo in November. Lions have been kept on the University of North Alabama campus since 1974. A Senate bill on President Biden's desk would force major tech companies to report incidents of child exploitation. Senator Marsha Blackburn's Bipartisan Report Act requires big tech companies like Facebook and Snapchat to report crimes like sex trafficking or grooming. Right now, criminal law only requires companies to report child sexual abuse material.
The Report Act is the first one to cross the finish line, and we're very pleased with that. We think it sends a message to big tech companies that they are not going to be able to just sit there and say, oh, we have nothing to do with this. When there is a bad actor, they now are going to be mandated to report that bad actor.
Last month, Senator Blackburn and others talked about the number of children who are going missing and also being exploited. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says it does not have specific numbers, but can confirm this is a problem in that state. Now to the war in Gaza. Israel and Hamas militants appear to be seriously negotiating a ceasefire and the return of Israeli hostages. NBC's Raf Sanchez reports from Tel Aviv.
For days now, Israel, the U.S., and the world have been waiting for Hamas to respond to the current ceasefire proposal, but Hamas not yet giving a definitive answer, instead saying it will send negotiators back to Cairo as soon as possible to continue discussions and try to finalize an agreement. Now, that is positive on the one side, but also an indication that Hamas is not yet ready to give an answer either way. Israel says time here is not unlimited and that despite American opposition, it is preparing to move ahead with an assault on the city of Rafah. Now, more than 1 million Palestinian civilians are sheltering there. The White House says any attack would be a disaster, but Israel says it has no choice. It needs to go into that city and destroy the remaining Hamas battalions who are hiding there. There is, at this point, more aid getting into Gaza than before. That's partly because Israel has opened up a new crossing under intense American pressure. The White House also says that it is just days away from the completion of an American military temporary pier off the coast of Gaza, which is designed to bring more food in by sea. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin overnight saying at this point, the U.S. does not have any intelligence that indicates that Hamas would attack American forces manning that pier, but he pointed out that this is a battle zone and it is an unpredictable situation. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Tel Aviv.